Hey everybody, welcome back to the Hilltop Pillbox in Abbotsford, British Columbia, Canada. And here we are looking at Historical Board Gaming's Global War 1936, and a couple people asked for it, so you're going to get it. A bit of a tutorial on Amphibious Assaults. Now, we're going to start out with a pretty basic one here, and then we're going to give you one that's got a bit more of a full meal deal to it. They're not unlike other ones that you have done in Axis and Allies games, but there's a couple important things. One, bombards happen for all of the surface ships, except for carriers, of course. But destroyers and cruisers and battleships all have a bombard. It's a 1 for the destroyer, a 2 for the cruiser, and a 4 for the battleship. All right. And there's something else that we'll talk about in a minute, but something else I want to point out is that there is an airbase here. So some people will see a plane and go, hey, we might scramble to this and maybe we'll sink a ship or something before it happens. Well, you can only scramble to battles, and there's no battle going on in the sea zone. There are no ships here for Anzac, so there is no sea battle. It's just a straight amphibious assault into southern Australia. Alright, so we're going to start with the bombards. So we have a 1, a 2, and a 4 bombarding against the 3 defenders here. So here we go. Grab ourselves the dice. And here we go with a 1. Oh, so close. And a 2. And the 4 with the battleship. And that's a hit. And as always, you're going to get a reply, but there you go. So that is the bombard. We got 1 hit on them. Now what we have is the actual amphibious assault. Now in most games you just unload the transports and away you go. But in 36, only the infantry class units are allowed to land in the first wave. Okay? So the first wave, we're only going to have these 3 infantry going up all by themselves. Okay, so they're in a bit of a bad way right off the hop. But we'll see how they do. So they roll at 2s here on these D12s. So we're going to grab 3 dice and roll it, and they need a 2. Wow, look at that. So we got a hit. Alright, so that's going to be a second hit on the tank. Alright, and now the Aussies get to fire back. And they have 1 at 4 for the infantry with a miss, and 2 at 6 for the fighter and the tank. So we got a 12 and a 4, so 1 hit. Alright, so you're thinking, well, 1 hit for the defenders, 2 for the attackers. Yeah, that's pretty good. Well, that's not exactly what happens here, because on the first wave, as we know, the first wave suffer heavy casualties. So infantry on the very first wave of an attack are going to take double shots. Okay? Not a good time for them. So actually that 1 hit will turn into 2 kills. So the Japanese lose 2 men, and the Aussies will lose the man in the tank. But now in the second phase, the second round of the attack, in comes all of the other stuff. Alright? So now we have artillery here. Let's get you sitting right there. Versus that one fighter. So we'll start with the motorized infantry. They got to hit a 2. And then we have the artillery shoots at a 3, and it brings the infantry up to a 3 as well. Okay, and we got that hit that we needed. And so the Australians have lost, and they lost big time. Alright. So there you go. So that is now Japanese territory. Okay. Now I'm going to film for you in just a moment. I'm going to set up a much larger scale amphibious invasion, and we'll be right there. Okay, we're back here for the big attack, and we're just going to go through this step by step to make sure that everything is nice and clear for you. So what we have here is the Japanese had a decision to make. They were all up here in Sea Zone 126, and they could have come here to 134. They could have come down through here to 135. And in fact, some of the boats can move 3. I'm just going to bring you over here to the little thing here. And some of the units attack, move, and defend differently based on the country. And some things can't even be built by certain countries. You'll notice that up here under the armor, there's light and medium. There's no heavy armor, no advanced armor for the Japanese. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So make sure that when you take a country, you really look at things, because sometimes their things will attack or move or do certain things differently than if you've been playing another country. All right. So that's where the historical accuracy is seeping into this game, and I really enjoy it because it keeps you on your toes, and it also adds to the richness of the experience. You know, not everybody had great armor, not everybody had great aircraft, and skilled people to use them. Okay, but as we can see here under the movement, that's the arrow at the top, and we go right down to the bottom. We can see transports only move 2. So for an actual invasion, the Japanese really just had the 2 choices here and here. And they both have some pluses and minuses to them. This one here, the plus is that there's no capital ship, so 3 hits and it's over. The minus is the mines. And you just roll a mitt full of mines, 1 for each ship. So if they brought all these in, there's 12 ships. They could actually get, you know, a handful of hits and just sink some ships right off the bat. Before the battle even starts. So that's a chance that Yamamoto doesn't really want to take. So he's going to attack here. Although there is a capital ship and a little bit more target selection, he feels like his overwhelming superiority and firepower will serve him well. Okay. Now the carriers aren't going to come in there, but these planes here will take part in the sea battle. All right. Now these are fabulous paint jobs. And, you know, if you're jealous, well, you know, you should be. I mean, look at that. That is some ugly paint. Okay, all right, I know my limitations. Everybody has limits, that's mine, okay? But these are just your naval torpedo dive bombers, okay? And these are your naval fighters. And these guys work for air superiority, and these guys here have a target selection of 1 to 3, whether they're attacking on land or on sea. So if they roll a 1 to a 3 on their attack die, they get to choose what they hit instead of the defender choosing the casualty. So that's kind of cool. Plus we also have submarine here. The submarine is raring to go, and a couple of destroyers here. All right. Pretty straightforward here battling. Now the Japanese had to split its forces up. Okay, the Japanese have to say, okay, which ones are going to fight the sea battle and which ones are going to fight the land battle. And as they looked at what they were coming after here, they said, you know what, we think that these ships here should do well against their sea ships, their navy here, sea ships. Good grief, it's late. And then we've got the battleship and the cruiser going to help with the bombard there, hopefully. All right. So, first thing you gotta do is take care of the sea battle. Well, the Anzac here have a couple of fighters. And the Anzac look at this and they say, you know, there's no way we're gonna win this. And we think that we might have a shot of defeating these guys and those guys with our ground forces if we keep the planes there. If we leave the planes, we're probably in trouble. So we're gonna keep the planes there. That's probably, mathematically, it's a good decision. So let's take care of the sea battle first things first. Okay, now in naval combat, attacking subs always shoot first. Okay, and you remove the casualties from the board. It's right on the naval combat. I'll even show you the chart here. Attacking submarines, anything else that has first strike goes boom. And then you roll for the rest of your units, and then the defender selects casualties. Okay. But casualties from substrikes are removed from the battle board. Now, that makes subs a lot more useful. Okay, I know in a lot of games subs don't get built that much, but in this game that's pretty useful. Now they don't hit as hard; they have to roll a 3. Okay, so it's 25% chance of getting a hit as opposed to a 33% chance in most other iterations of this game and these sorts of games. So the chances you're going to hit are less likely, but if you do, it's an instant casualty. Okay. Now, if a capital ship gets hit, it just gets tilted. It doesn't get removed from the board. Okay. And some of you are thinking about destroyers and whatnot. Doesn't that stop someone from seeing or having a sneak attack? And no, it does not. All right, naval combat's pretty straightforward. Okay, so here we go. We're going to start with that little Japanese sub that could. Needs a 3. Okay, that's kind of cocked, but we're going to call it an 11, so big miss. Okay, and now we have 2 4s, a 6, and an 8 for the ships. So 2 4s, 1 hit, a 6, 2 hits, an 8, 3 hits, so that's 3 hits. And then we have over here with our planes, the tactical bombers fire at a 7 and the naval fighters fire at a 6. We'll start with our 7s and 2 more hits. Okay, so that's it for the Grand Anzac Navy. So the Anzac have 2 4s, a 6, and an 8. Okay, so 2 4s, 1, 2, so that's 2 hits. 2 4s, a 6, whoops, sorry, one at a time. A 6. It's a hit, that's 3 hits, and an 8. I couldn't even go with 4 for. Okay, so 3 hits for the Japanese. So the Anzac fleet is gone. The Japanese now have to take 3 hits. Okay, and they were all surface ships that hit them, so it can be anything. So we're going to get rid of the sub, that's 1. And then we're going to tilt, okay, so he's damaged, and then we're going to lose that. Okay, and once you tilt, at my board I've got these handy dandy damage markers that just let me know that is damaged. And the fighters here in their non-com are going to end up flying back there to the carriers. We won't bother trying to set them on there right now. So now we have the attack coming into Queensland. Okay, so we're going to have all these things on the boats and all this stuff on the land. And we also got a couple of heavy bombers coming in here. Okay, pretty simple stuff. Okay, but the first thing we got to do, we're going to get the sea battle out of the way, is we've got a coastal gun. And the coastal gun will fire up to 3 shots, okay, at a 3. Okay, so any 3s and it's a hit, the defender has to choose the casualties. So here's the rolls, and we did get 1 hit. Okay, so out of all that, and this happens first, we're just going to, we'll damage the battleship, I guess. So the battleship is damaged, okay, and that is... and this is in the same phase as the bombardment, so it's not damaged before the shore bombardment. If it were, then the shore bombardment, I think if it's damaged, will drop a bit. I haven't looked up that rule for a long time, but anyway, this is in the same phase. So they did get 1 hit with the coastal battery. Now they get to shoot back. So the cruiser bombards at a 2, the battleship bombards at a 4. 2 and a 4. Okay, so no joy there. Okay, now we have the real meat and potatoes of this. Okay, we have the shore landings. Okay, so we've got these 5 transports coming in and dropping off these 10 units. So we've got 3 artillery and a tank. And we got 4 guys. And we've got 2 Marines. Now, again, as we know from the last battle that we just saw, only the infantry style units will land first. Okay, so right off the bat, all we're landing are 6 men. But fortunately, we still have these guys, and they can come in at any time, as can the bombers. But for the land combat, that's all that is happening right there. Okay, is off the boats is the men in the first round. So the first round, we've got men who don't have artillery yet, so they're all attacking at a 2. So these guys here are just attacking at a 2, and there's 4 of them, and 2 Marines attacking at a 3. So here's the 4 attacking at a 2. Ooh, some close calls, but no dice. And then we've got the 2 Marines. Hey, 2 hits by the 2 Marines, so that's 2 hits on the Anzac. And then we have, on the first round, on the first round, these guys can participate. Okay, they're coming in no trouble. So we've got a 2 and 3 3s. So we got a 2, woo, with a hit, and 3 3s, and nothing there. Okay, so we got 3 hits now on the Anzac, and then we've got our bombers. So here's 2 bombers coming in. Oh, 2 hits. Okay, so that's 5 hits on the Anzac. Okay, Now that is one shy of everything they've got, so they will last a second round. Now, they do have this fortification, which gives you 2 5s. Plus, it brings all the infantry up to +1, which will bring them up to a 5 as well. So, and these will hold up to 10 infantry, I believe. So, these guys here, these 2 are definitely covered. So, we're going to have 1, 2, 3 5s. We have a 4 and 3 6s. Okay, so we're going to start with the 4, 3 5s, and 3 6s. A 4, miss, 3 5s, 1 hit, 3 6s, 2 hits. So we got 2 hits. Now, this is the exciting time. Is the Japanese player now, anytime there's an amphibious assault, the hits have to be applied to amphibious units first. Okay? So you can't apply it to these guys right now. They'd have to wait until the whole amphibious assault got wiped out before these guys could. Now, if the whole amphibious assault gets wiped out, okay, then that's it. The combat's over. Okay? Now they got 2 hits. 2 hits. Okay? On the Japanese. So, and they got 5 against them. So the Japanese, when you are doing an amphibious assault, your infantry are unprotected, right? So 1 hit will kill 2 of them. So the Japanese have a choice here. They can either kill 2 of these guys with those 2 hits, because any naval landing force or marines, they'll just take a single hit. But regular infantry, these guys here will actually die 2 for 1 on the first round of an amphibious assault. Okay? So you all saw Saving Private Ryan, right? So they're just trudging up the sand and getting blasted. These guys here have more equipment, tactics, better leadership, I don't know what, but something that'll keep them going a little better. So in this game, they could just take these 2, or they could take all 4. Well, what we're going to do is we're just going to do that. Okay, we're going to take those guys out of there. That's the 2 hits that the Anzac got. And the Anzac got 5 against them. So 1, 2, and then 3, and 4, and 5. Okay, so they're down to a plane. So this is pretty much over. The coastal gun is still there if they win, but it looks like we're done. The fortress no longer does anything, so now the Japanese are just going to roll in. And as I like to do when it's all over but the crying, we'll start with the big units, the bombers, and we got our 4 and a 3, just a little salt in the wound. So then the fighter is dead. We'll let him have a go at a 6, and he missed. Okay, so now the Japanese, as they move in here, okay, all the units that were landing amphibiously, okay, they all get to join in. Of course, the bombers, like in all other versions, they got to fly back to previously held territory. And there we go. And that's what this would look like at the end, is the Japanese would take it over, and we'll just transfer that one over there, and they take that. Okay, so hopefully that was clear enough for you. This goes away. These coastal guns are both gone now. All right. Yeah, and all the other facilities stay there. Okay. If you have any questions, comments, concerns about this, please let me know. I was asked a while ago if aircraft will attack on that first round of combat, and according to everything I could see, they do. They do take part. It's just the land has the first wave is all infantry, and they take double casualties. That's the key. You really got to remember that, folks, when you go to do an amphibious assault. So just I don't know, try to maybe put it up on the wall on a poster or something, I don't know. But it really makes amphibious assaults a lot more costly than they've been in the past in war games. And war games, typically we treat them like regular attacks, but we really have to acknowledge that they aren't. That there is a stronger price to be paid for trying to land in hostile territory with infantry. All right, and yeah, so I think they do a really good job of that in this. All right, let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you have any questions, comments, concerns, that'd be great. All right, till next time, have a great day, hug your loved ones, and may the dice be with you.